even though he tends to lean heavier into those engaged champions, like the fact that he played our first Leona the split last game, is someone who's willing to play just about anything in that support role with how long he's been around.
Yeah, they go ahead and lock it in. If it's left open, I feel like it's too big of a pick to let go. It's just about building around it and utilizing it efficiently, and I think that's not something we exactly saw in game number 1. But now you got a back-to-back pick'ems for IG. We'll see if that immediate lockdown is available for Tianzhen. Obviously, he got his Rengar taken away, but I expect some aggression to be there, and you get early skirmishing, but also single target lockdown with the Vi.
Yeah, and also being a bit of a takeaway, right? We were hitting on earlier how Wei hasn't really just gravitated towards all of the premier high-priority junglers. So now Ard's going to take away his most picked champion, really good at just trying to single out things like the Ashe or whatever you pair alongside it, and even thinking about getting an early pick of the Senna. I like that we've been seeing more teams willing to pick it up, right? Because at first, a lot of people were hesitant. It was really only like some of our main Senna players who were going towards this pick, but still brings a ton of power, especially if you can draft, some things that are a bit stronger, have a little bit more autonomy and sustain in that top half of the map.
I'll say it's not something we've seen from On and Wink so far this split, at least, but we'll be curious to see how they can unlock that potential on bottom side, but maybe more so stay safe until it's unlocked as time goes on. But this is another pick that we've seen extremely rising in priority in 14-2, and that is the Ezreal lock-in. So a lot of range and a lot of chase down available to the bot side of RNG.
Yeah, Q, W, and ult buffs coming out for Ezreal, all in regards to damage coming through, whether it be ratios or even R. I believe it's at rank 2 and 3. The base damage even being slightly up, and now just going to go stock and standard with the Udyr coming out alongside it. A lot of poke going to be coming from the spot lane 2v2. It's a good thing that IG have some sustain so far with the Senna. I'm curious how they'll round it out if we do just see them go towards the Tom, but feels like that could just get so punished. You do have the all-in opportunities there if you can get that Abyssal dive timed right. And once again, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on if Tianzhen can put as much pressure on bot lane as he did in game 1.
Terrified that they gave Breathe the Udyr again, though. Like that was a big sieve of pressure last game. And I'm surprised that IG were just willing to not deal with that, right? And yes, they will have to counter pick into it, and I'm curious what they're going to try to get there. And I'm sure RNG are going to try to ban out some of those matchups, but the Akali is that first ban from IG in the second phase.
So, right, one champion we've seen come out against it a few times, both been in Wayward, bringing out the Darius. That sounds like a YSKM champion, don't you think?
I'd say so. I'd say we also probably see it banned in the second phase.
Also to be fair, like playing Darius into like Ashe volleys, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and Ezreal jumping away, that actually would be incredibly hard. But I'm a bit surprised they don't just ban out the Cassante and say like, hey, where do you go? Do you just lean back on your Jax? Or hell, they had 2 bans, right? Could have taken both of those away and really kind of pushed YSKM into some new territory, because I doubt it would be the Yone coming out for them here.
I do feel like there are a lot of answers. Even though I know there's always going to be the problem of dealing with the Udyr, there are some really good answers into it now. The Olaf as well is there. The Poppy is the ban away from IG, so trying to lock down the jungle matchup a little bit more. Also a specialty of Wei's. The last ban, though, they really want to focus down this Tangyuan matchup. They get the Azir and the Talia ban, the double mid lane focus.
Yeah, so right now, they were just showing the Jax. I think that would make a bit of sense. Like going with something that brings more side lane presence when you already have the Senna down in that bot lane to try to enable you with that ulti. I think it would make a bit more sense than going for your traditional frontline top laner.
Have some fun. It's the last game before it. Okay, we get the Nico mid lane lock in there. So Cryin going to take an old favorite of his, it feels like, as well. As, that's actually a lot of CC lockdown, a lot of team fight tools, at least for IG.
And that's where RNG want to go with their kind of mid-jungle combo. A lot of things already taken off the board that Tangyuan would usually gravitate towards. You do have the Orianna there. I'd say you also do have the Nocturne combo if you wanted it, but again, that can be quite annoying playing up against the Tahm Kench. Even things like the Nika ultimate can really just ruin your day after you jump in, taking that huge amount of burst. So I wonder if they do just go along the lines of something like the Xinjiao that they were already highlighting.
I want to see it. I called it at the beginning of the day. Like, I want to see this man pick it up. This is what he made his name on. If anybody remembers the E-Star days, you know, all good times.
Oh, when I think I gotta say, to be fair, when I think of E-Star, I think of Jarvan Rumble and just ganking bot non-stop for Wink and Chelsea.
I do love the Zidao Locus, first of the split, at least for Wei, but an old classic for him. We do end up getting that Jax lock-in the end from IG, so you talked a little bit about it earlier.
Yeah, right, just going out, bringing a bit more side lane pressure with the fact that you do have that Senna ultimate there to try and enable. You have like a really strong presence already around your top side. But I also want to highlight something we haven't really pointed out today, is that this is also an E-Star reunion. It actually just hitting me right now. Wei, Cryin, and Wink, if anyone remembers back in 2020, having that like superb spring split to start, but not making it. There's just a lot of reunions coming out on the Rift in our first matchup.
The year that sold RNG on Wei, it felt like.
Yeah.
that was the year, and Wei has not moved ever since. Feels crazy to think that he's going to be on this team for almost 4 years now after this split, or after this year rather. Anyways, we got to think a little bit more about how the approach is, because IG, they're on the back foot here. If they lose, this is their last series. It's both teams' last series before our 2-week break. They really wanted to put themselves in the upper echelon of our teams, and now they find themselves up against a big wall, it feels like.
Yeah, it's going to be hard, but again, I like the tools that they brought out. It's leaning a little bit more into what we knew them for last year, especially with the YSKM on the Jax. Hopefully that's enough to bring us to 3.
Gotta see top side, how it's going to impact the game, but if we get some more shenanigans like that last game, the early level ones could bring a little bit of spice to this game number 2. RNG 1 game away from cleaning up a 3-2 start to the season, but IG want to be the upsets, want to continue their streak here. As we hit the rip for game 2, let's hear those Jaios. Let's go. Love this. Man, I got to get me some of those horns. They're so cool. I love the little acronym there for LWX's name too. But hey, fans out in force for a series that actually means a lot to both these two organizations. I know IG have been on a little bit streak. They were a little sad to have lost it IP, but I feel like this IG roster has made a lot of ground on, I feel like, the ground they left away last season.
Yeah, I mean, hell, even their, like, kind of looking at their last series, I think it was a bit of an unexpected win coming out 2-1 over TT, who I think going into that, a lot of people, despite their scoreline, were hyped for because of some of the gameplay that they'd shown. But highlighting now, right, Ezreal coming in with some buffs. Again, Q, W, and R all receiving buffs to their ratios, are also getting some just base damage buffs at ranks 2 and 3. I like that LPL and Ming also didn't try to go for anything silly at level 1. Maybe in like fear of thinking to what they did to IG with a similar bot lane duo. So gonna play respectful, just gonna play to try and have some control over this wave at level 1.
Also, shout out to LWX. He's using the new Ezreal skin, and that's what the horns are from that everybody's wearing in the crowd, by the way. It's kind of, yeah, it's really, really cool. As On and Wink will get the brunt of what this combo does, and it is literally poke your face off.
Yeah, again, it's just so obnoxious. I mean, Ezreal, everyone knows for just being able to spam out those Qs, but Ash with the volleys, you're never going to be able to hit that wave.
So much. It's so crazy.
And this is why, right, when like we hit on so much about when you're running the, let's say, IG side of this matchup, or like the melee support and range, it's a lot about being able to try to combo up with your jungler and find those windows where you can get kills. Obviously, matching can be hard in terms of the 3v3, but you got to try to find something.
And I do want to take a look at these jungle paths. Obviously, Tianzhen will be spotted out by that early ward from RNG, but we are going to get some aggressive pathing from Wei to try to combat this.
Yeah, already getting in his face. We're going to see if he's able to find anything. Has Prio in both of his soul lanes, so can just run Tianzhen out.
Like, why not? You can't, like, you absolutely have Prio, and immediately Tangyuan's on his way. Wei will immediately get that 3-talent strike at Tianzhen. He's not going to burn his flash, but he's going to be oh so pained up right now, as Wei will also clean up the Krugs.
And now he's going to be able to move over to that red buff, take that one away, deny Tianzhen even more. He still has his whole blue quadrant of the jungle open. Go back and farm those. He's going to be able to find a very meaningful lead from this invade.
Not like this, Lyric. Not like this. Tianzhen is going to be in a world of hurt now. He's going to try to bolt his way down to the Scuttle Crab down there, but It's yeah, it's gonna be 3 sides of the jungle completed for Wei here, as he's gonna be pretty safe. Breathe and YSKM having a little bit of a slugfest up there, but it really has just been the story of RNG having prio in lanes when it matters. Oh, here we go.
We got a different story.
It looks like Breathe overstayed his bounds here and forgot he's up against the Jax. Luckily, Wei is here to help him out. The flash comes through, wind does become lightning, and YSKM gets taken out for first blood.
YSKM, he thought he found it. We thought he found it too. But all he found was sadly Wei up in that top lane on now. I think a huge bit of punishment. Just deny the backs.
That is a tunneler first completed already for RNG and Wei. He's going to be real confident to step back out on the map. Tianzhen's actually going to try to play aggressive here because Tangyuan's very low. Does still have flash, has TP, so he can clear this wave and get back.
Yeah, neither mid laner actually having gone.
If he walks over, luckily. Oh my God! Luckily, Tianzhen didn't wait. He was not patient. If he was patient, Tangyuan dies.
Yeah, that timing could have come to bite him. It's not going to, and Cryin still just going to maintain such control over this wave, not having too much to fear. There is a bit of an angle for a way to slip in if you look at the mini-map.
There is. The warding didn't actually catch him there. We're actually going to take a look back at the replay here. It's POV. No, it's just a weird spectator.
It is. I kind of like it was kind of endearing. You know,
Okay.
I was so caught off by that. I actually really didn't focus much on what actually happened on screen, but it was a bit nostalgic.
Hey, we're watchers, and so we just get to explore. We get things given to us, and we get to watch it as well. We get to experience it too. Speaking of experiencing, we got a dragon already started up here. It looks like, at least in terms of the vision control and the game being started. But oh, I thought actually we were going to see Tianzhen hover back down towards this way. Looks like maybe we'll get the contest over the grubbies first.
Yeah, both teams leaning up towards there. So it's going to be harder for like IG to just outright take dragons than they otherwise would have if RNG weren't playing Ezreal. Because Ezreal, of course, right, you do take the TP because you already have safety that you really don't need any of those other defensive summoners on the board. So you saw LWX TP back to lane. So maybe you're right, maybe IG worth thinking about it, but realizing, hey, we're not going to be able to.
Yeah, wrapping back around mid.
Yeah, and Tangyuan does a flash. But
I think they
still,
really want to get an advantage here in mid lane if they can. Because if you can unlock Cryin on the Nico, again, his flanks are going to be incredibly important in this game.
yeah, and I mean, right, just the amount of early damage that Nico can put up. But look, RNG not wanting to lose anything without a contest, hovering over for now.
I think they know something is up. Wei is going to come around the corner here. On almost takes that poke there. Cryin going to reveal the plan. Tianzhen, there's the in-game with the shockwave up from Wei and Tangyuan. The dragon goes down. Pop Blossom not going to connect onto anybody. Tangyuan's looking for an angle on the Cryin, but it's immediately turned back around on. And it's LWX and Co trying to take down ING, and they do. I can't believe it has turned out this way. It's a 2-for-1 so far, and Tianzhen is going to actually make it out alive.
So 2K gold lead up for RNG already in 7 minutes. Look at the bot lane. They're able to get this wave in. On is going to be able to make it back here, so hopefully shouldn't lose too much. But still, everything going in RNG's favor.
And that started off with the combo of Wei and Tangyuan with the shockwave immediately. And I think some things just going a little bit short for IG would have made a big difference.
Yeah, I missed how On especially ended up so far forward. But like you said, the shockwave with Wei going in really being the key thing to start this fight off in RNG's favor. Sadly, Cryin can't even get in far enough with the Nico ulti to be able to get a bit done. But it seems like this being the difference maker on the back end of the fight is LWX actually coming in with the flank on, really not having anywhere else to run but up into the waiting arms of RNG's other members.
It's just like being delivered to a cradle of death. As it will be the Rift Herald, or at least not Rift Herald, the Grubbies, the Telegrubbies will go down here to RNG, using that strength off the last play, as well as just the lead that Wei has now over Tianzhen. And honestly, that's been the story of the series so far. I feel like Wei has really had a good idea of how to play against Tianzhen.
And it feels like, again, that's kind of been my story of RNG so far this split, is that Wei and Breathe have looked incredibly solid. Their bot lane having some issues so far, but in the series, having been on point, right? We see them maintaining pressure in the spot lane 2v2, but I'm actually more curious as I look to the mini-map. Breathe going for a bit of a stroll. Actually,
He's just on a
counter
walkabout.
juggling.
He's just on a walkabout.
This actually doesn't end up taking away the camps of Mazel
But
or
Wei
fighting
did.
in the action.
Wei took the blue buff.
That's true.
Aren't you proud of him?
You know, I've been proud of Wei enough this game. I'm ready to be proud of someone else.
You have been pretty proud of Wei this game. We actually see him hovering over bot side of the map, though, just to make sure this double marksman bot lane is okay. Wink and On are getting to the point, right? We do have those level 6 marks. We do have some engage potential from this bottom lane, and you're hoping that it's enough and enough time to do something down here, because once these two guys get ahead, Ming and LWX, there's really no locking them down.
No, and not even just think about like the long range CC and pick potential, but like even just LWX's ult to follow through on that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what kind of like creative ways RNG can manage to find kills. IG on the opposite side, you hit. I feel like we're looking a lot at Cryin and Tianzhen, right? Tianzhen able to start up the fight and turning that into a meaningful pop blossom. We didn't get to see that around Dragon. Cryine's pop blossom not contributing anything, but my eye's really going to gravitate towards the IG mid jungle.
Yeah, it's got to be a key lockdown factor, because then that sets up on to put in some damage. But the thing is, it's going to take time, I feel like, and maybe not something necessarily you want to give to the composition of RNG, because they also are perfectly fine with that. I think Ezreal's going to be great. Tangyuan's going to be perfectly happy. But it is still trying to get On into a position where he is strong. That's going to take a long time, especially with how far behind you are.
Yeah, gonna be able to provide a bit in the mid game, and at least you're going up against an Orianna. And we saw, right, Tangyuan able to find impact already with the shockwave, but still, it feels like there should be maybe a bit more burst coming out from IG's 2 carries at that point in the game. But the longer it goes, right, locking down LWX, sure you have a vibe, but then you also have to worry about the damage that's gonna be coming out from Tangyuan, as well as Wei already sitting on 2-1-1. Just feels like there's gonna be a lot of things for IG to have to consider before even thinking about starting a fight.
Now is another game where blue side. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, especially now with Sundered Sky picked up. Actually, I just noticed Wei just got that just now.
Yep. And that's what next was gonna say is like the fight from RNG is gonna immediately go to grubs in about a minute, because they can just get 6 grubs here and make that push even stronger, right? They have so much siege potential that makes them terrifying. And now the conversation becomes like the dragon is coming up, but does IG really want to give over 6 grubs?
Yeah, that would be a rough one. I kind of hate to see RNG give up this Drake at the same time, though, because it really feels like it just could put IG in a place where RNG are now on the back foot, having to make like maybe decisions they otherwise wouldn't want to, because IG have this stack building up.
How? Okay, well, YSKM is about to punish Breathe. He's still a new here. Got to be a little bit careful. I was just going to ask, how did we get to 4 plates taken top? There's the combo, and the wombo follows. Tangyuan gets the kill at mid lane. You just couldn't have seen that coming from Cryin. There's no way.
I was going to say, we just talked about it a minute ago, that it was going to be fun when we get to see both bot lane ults thrown out to find a kill. They do it there, and now RNG trying to use this to lean into bot. I think thinking the same thing, not wanting to let IG start stacking up these dragons so early on.
It's so crazy. It's just like dominoes falling one by one. It's like one ulti's coming. How many more can follow it? They do have all those ultis down now for this potential dragon fight. A lot of positioning from IG was around here. I don't know if they feel confident enough to put up a fight around this, though. But Wei is hovering just in case. And I think that is a fine job from IG to pull the attention of RNG away from the grubs.
Yeah, now. I mean, like you said, doing a nice job at least not allowing them the time to commit up there, but we did just get more items finished off for RNG side. Iceborne Gauntlet for Breed, Luden's being picked up by Tangyuan, so gonna be a bit stronger. There's LWX on his TP as well with the Essence Reaver, so just first items across the board, and that cannot be said for their Invictus Gaming counterparts.
Somebody save YSKM, man. This man's got almost 5 plates taken from him in 13 minutes. He just can't find an angle. It looks like he's going to give that one up. No TP to get back. So the push going to continue from Breathe, but the fight starts in front of Dragon.
And now 2 ults already backed up for RNG. Equal. Oh,
the uprights. Oh, On gets devoured there, though. Nicely saved by Wink. Good combo from a long-standing duo of IG. And we'll see Cryin now on the edge. Gets shockwaved. Ming coming over, too. Cryin's going for the big pop blossom. He connects onto Tangyuan. Tangyuan gets sniped, but he gets the damage right back. And it's a trade, 1-for-1 so far. Wei's now locked down. Dragon going over to Tianzhen, though. and it's actually secured as now the fight continuing. The big cease and desist over the wall, but Wei is health stealing his way to victory here. My God, he's still alive as LWX kicks in the doorstep. IG are routed.
IG end up losing the dragon, but the gold swings even further in their favor with 3 members of IG taken down. We can see turret topside going to RNG too. Like, they have found the item advantage that they were looking for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they can utilize it pretty strongly as well. Yes, they lost that dragon, but I think they'll take those kills in the presence down there, especially getting some more kills to the mid-jungle duo as we see a nice little director cut of this engage on mid lane and the dominoes that fell.
Oh, you're right.
God, actually. It's so cool.
Yeah, great coordination coming through. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Ezreal ultimate to fall through into the shockwave. And we're gonna see here, I mean, Cryin finally finds a way to at least get someone locked down with the ulti, but so fast on the response to come out from Wei here to make sure that Cryin goes down. He doesn't get any more cooldowns to come up to put out any more damage. But this is where it got a little bit dicey. Tianzhen does manage to pick it off in the end. And I thought here with Xin Zhao giving him an escape route that things would just go IG's way. But then Wei pops the, oh, you pointed out the sustain coming out from him as well from that passive. And man, they just could not bring him down, especially, I mean, now even almost up to his second item.
Yeah, the passive sustain on top of the multi-target ability of the Sundered Sky, being able to hit multiple members and get that healing back. It's absolutely nutty. And now we see the Rift Herald already going down, but it's Ming who might have paid the price, but it's just a bait. As IG now having to run away. That'll be the True Shot Barrage. LWX playing real aggressive there because Tangyuan is coming on the back. Ooh. Misses the shockwave, and this is the turnaround from IG, but Tianzhen is no longer there to say anything. TP has come in. They got the Pop Blossom combo, and they are going to take down Wei. That's a nice little shutdown going through. They got to be real careful, though. Tangyuan's on the flank. Breathe is now coming up, and On is a sitting duck here as he's just going to get exploded the rest of the fight, though. LWX finds himself in no man's land somehow. Breathe has helped clean down On, and he's now running down YSKM and Cryin. It's just like your favorite horror movie, although IG might not be liking that one too much. They will be able to leap strike their way away, and RNG won't find it. They might be on the back end of an overextension, though. Tianzhen has made it back from the dead, and it's not the living dead. It's Tianzhen from IG. I don't think the Breathe is going to do too much back here, as he does need to be a little bit careful of the turnaround. Looks like he was just waiting for Tangyuan, and we're just still going, Lyric.
Yeah, they're just keep going forward. You saw it. Breathe doesn't look like he's going to do much here. Breathe thinks he's going to do a lot, but now with all members of IG.
Breathe is the one that dies out of all of this, out of all this craziness. He's the one that is to end up dying. Maybe that's worth.
I mean, like you said, really wanting to keep up that aggression and go forward. Took so long that all members of IG get to come back up, though, and find the kill. So, yeah, it bites them in the end. And I think at one point we were up to about a 4.5k gold lead for RNG. That has been brought down to around 3. So not as big as before, but now we're sitting close, right? Ooh.
Oh. If On got tagged there, that's the combo coming right back for you.
But we're already close to things like Black Cleaver coming out for Wei. That'd be his second item. We're already sitting on the Seekers for Tangyuan, which, you know, is going to feel really good in terms of survivability. At least IG are finally all on first items themselves. But I feel like we're just a few more camps, a few more waves away from RNG already being towards their second.
So do we feel like the IG team fight is actually going to be worthy to stand up against RNG? There's going to be a lot of different items going different ways, right? And that's some of the mobility factor that comes in favor of RNG. But it does feel like if IG finds a perfect entrance, their wombo is actually terrifying.
Yeah, I think a lot is going to be on Tianzhen and YSKM being able to bind LWX, put pressure on him, to where I actually would love to see Cryin play more around On, and that Pop Blossom be a threat, be a fear of people like Wei, people like Breathe really running forward and committing onto him, because then maybe you can kill RNG's frontline faster than they'd be able to do vice versa, and Tianzhen and YSKM should just be able to delete LWX.
I know we don't have the Dragon Timer up there in the top left, but it is going to be coming up here soon, and IG would be on a third Dragon for themselves. So trying to position for this and keep this vision up is very important. Another important factor is Seeker's Arm Guard is there for Tangyuan, so he's got some sustainability in the fights, and RNG are always going to be looking for a big pick with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow before this kicks off.
I will say, luckily for IG, on splash is just coming up right now, so is now going to have safety that, you know, again, had that been an extra 30 seconds, would have given RNG a potential free Drake.
They're starting it up.
Yeah, IG, I wonder if they'll bring anything in or if they'll just try to keep Tianzhen in that pressure on bot and set up for a potential pick. We see Cryin taking a turret in top, so nice trades coming out across the map.
I like that, and IG just willing to play a little bit more back-footed here in the moment. YSKM going to get the engage on top of him here by Wei and Tangyuan. Tangyuan actually has the shockwave available. Ming is here too. Tianzhen decided to stop his back for like the 3rd time. He actually commits to it because Ming is hovering. Meanwhile, topside, Cryin might just die here. That is an Udyr, and you gotta fear the deer when you're up against Breathe. RNG's top laner comes up with another solo bolo.
Finds one. The action's not stopping as Wei goes in.
YSKM does some work here. Wei is way overextended. He's under tower too. He's not taking the tower though. Tangyuan's doing that one. Nice little flash from On with the lockdown. Will secure Wei. Wing's trying to find an angle there. Does get the tongue lash onto Ming. Ming's trying to speed up, but the Dawning Shadow signals the engage. One more, and YSKM comes over the top for a double kill.
So now we're going to see some kills finally found back for IG in this game. I mean, this game has been scrappy, but still, just looking at the minimap, now the observers bring us towards mid. Look at top. Just RNG using that time, taking advantage, trying to deny even more. Hell, Breathe even get started on that tier 2 top lane turret. Because we're going to see exactly what kind of shenaniganry goes down.
He just ran at him.
Yeah, just caught trying to go for the recall, and you don't get to make recalls against Udyr on his side of the map, Cryin. I know you and Breathe were on RNG together, but you should know he hates that.
You should know he's not going to allow that. This, though, is a little bit interesting from RNG.
Yeah, try to go for the... I am surprised myself with how much damage Wei is able to eat, even if it is against Ruby ult, through him now also being on that Black Cleaver and having more HP, all this stuff. But IG committing a lot to be able to find these still, though. It's much needed gold back into the pockets of Invictus Gaming.
And importantly, into YSKM's pockets. He's going to actually be able to stand up against Breathe, and that's where I want to hyper-focus on the side lane a little bit, because it's going to be even more important. Does YSKM have a chance now against Udyr, really trying to hit that second item spike on the Jackson?
I feel like Breed should still outpace him. Now, again, making his way to his 3rd item himself, it should be very hard for YSKM to be able to find really any damage that sticks in that scenario. Now, as we kind of move background objectives, I'm once again looking at our carries flashes, right? On and Wink both being down. Cryin does have his, so has the potential to set up for a big Pop Blossom or potentially save one of his teammates. But LWX, with everything up, is still just going to be such an annoyance to lock down once again.
He's trying to look for the ulti there. Didn't find what he was looking for. We do have those second items completed for mid laners. I think they're going to be super important here. Speaking of, though, we got the engage with the shockwave there, and Wink's already gone off the board here for IG.
Yeah, Wink steps too far forward, gets punished. Breathe even cuts off anyone else from IG being able to run in. They're going to try and answer with YSKM pushing down in bot, but he's not really going to be able to commit much with the threat of RNG over here towards the Baron.
I hate to say it, but that's multiple times this series we've seen that happen from Wink, and got to be wondering how the communication breakdown is happening for IG so far, because they can just keep picking at this wound, it feels like, and find objective focus and the presence there, right? And I think there's a lot of vision control gained by RNG this series because of moments like this.
Yeah, a lot of like small things going in RNG's favor. Maybe Wink's just trying to be a homie. He's like, you know, man, I was your AD carry for a little bit. You've been gone for a while. There's been some criticism. Let's hook you guys up.
I don't think that's happening, but you know, to each their own. I do want to focus though on the Crypt Bloom setup though from IG. I know we've talked a little bit about this item before, but I think it's interesting that you're gonna, I guess the conversation is always, do you just go more damage or do you try to go more sustain here? And it seems like the idea for Cryin, find that team-wide sustain, and RNG, Ming pays the price just like Wink did. Wei's gonna try to go right back in. He's in some trouble now though, does get locked down, but guess who's here? It's the deer, and Cryin goes for the big Pop Blossom, gets onto 2 members here with the Tangle Barb on top of it. Dawning Shadow too, they got the engage from YSKM, and 2 more are gone from RNG. IG starting to fight back with this team-based comp.
even seeing a bit of differences from game one, where this time halfway through the fight they realized, hey, we need to ignore this Udyr. We are not dealing damage to him, and now running straight towards the Baron. All of this being started thanks to Ming saying, no, Wink, you aren't my friend, I'm your friend.
We do see them burning it down pretty heavily. Breathe can just run in there and do some work, as the damage from Tangyuan's not going to register just yet. He's going to try to get an angle over here. The Baron going so low, and it will be secured by Tianzhen. Meanwhile, Breathe just caught on the back end of it, trying to get some damage on a YSKM. Won't find it and goes down anyways.
Now IG having the Baron should be able to bring this back. Gonna have the Jax utilizing those Baron minions to really be able to pressure down out inside. You're gonna hope Tianzhen probably gonna hover alongside him to make sure that he can play aggressively. Kind of curious, we're gonna cut to this right before Dragon comes up, but like I said, Ming feeling bad about Wink going down. Besides, hey, you deserve one back. Really nice engage coming out from Tianzhen to start that one off. And then here's where it looked like, hey, do they have enough damage now that certain things from our combo have been used? Cryin does find a nice ult to CC people down, but Breathe is taking so much damage. But here, Tianzhen, YSKM just ignoring the Udyr, getting straight on the way, gives RNG no options to fight back.
And a zoom in there from our observers shows Tangyuan Shockwave going completely wide. Big damage dealer not available in the fight. So a couple things going wrong. Now IG find themselves at parity with RNG, where they once were over 4,000 gold in the deficit. And their composition is strong as a whole when we're getting forced around objectives. And meanwhile, there's no objective yet, but the Enchanted Crystal Air is going out. Breathe is on top of Wink and Cryin, but Cryin does get devoured there and is safe as sound.
So neither side is going to lose anyone here. IG just trying to suffocate RNG out.
That was bold. he saw Breathe on the Udyr. He's like, I can fight this guy. He does take a brunt of damage, though, and now needs to be a lot more careful with his positioning. He does have a lot of CC, a lot of sustain, but it's not going to be enough. He's got the Vault Breaker, and it's a flash from Way to secure the kill with that Crescent Guard.
I also love how during all that, YSKM's like, I ain't getting involved in any of this. Just go straight for the recall. I mean, more members of RNG could have followed up, right? So right decision in the end. Yeah. Sadly, another Tianzhen mistake comes out. And this game was just so close, right? Tangyuan being the big member for RNG, having that bounty, being close to the death cap. YSKM really being the beneficiary of picking up a lot of the kills from past team fights. Now it feels like he should be at a point in his side laning where he is a threat to anyone on the side of RNG.
And again, this was the poster boy, it felt like, of IG last year. He came in and made the biggest splash, I feel like, out of the entire league's top laners. You should know me. He came out on the stage the first time, pointed at his back, and exclaimed his name. And I think you have to think it is nice to see some of these shining moments, but he's got to be able to be the force that we've known him for. He's got to be the one that actually is that center point for IG, especially in this game on the Jax, because without him, all their lead, the little advantage they've at least clawed back, is useless.
Yeah, you're right. Whether it's through what he's doing in side lanes, already pulling members apart, potentially taking these turrets, or even when we see them dive in on team fights, he's really the only one who could safely and easily follow up Tianzhen when he finds his way onto LWX, like we saw in the last fight.
Yeah.
So it really feels like either role, whether RNG can pull them into a fight or not, we're really going to be keeping our eyes on this Jax for IG to be able to pull us to a game 3.
RNG in the downtime between objectives. This is their bread and butter. They're just looking for picks, seeing if they can find angles with Ming. He's got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow available, and he's got a lot of say in how RNG find picks. And really, IG just need to stay safe until they can get a 5-on-5. Here's that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. IG did not stay safe, but they will make their way out of dangerous position.
Yeah, sadly, RNG can't find the engage. I was curious to see how it would have panned out because Tianzhen would have had a flank angle, so RNG might have even ended up regretting that. As now Cryin, after pushing on the side, has his own Storm Surge coming through. So even now, we're seeing nice breaking points for this Nico. A ton of burst, even if it is nerfed to try to take down people like LWX or Tangyuan.
Curious, that third iron spike does make the difference. You also got the Lord Doms completed for LWX, so he's really going to start chunking the front line as well. You got to be a little bit careful of that. All's calm and all's fair in Love and War here on the Rift right now as cheeky. He's going to stop the back of YSKM, but it is resets from both sides because we know, with positioning coming up, we have about a minute and a half for the Baron, and we're getting to the point where that can be a smoke and mirrors type play.
Yeah, it really can, and I think the kind of next step we need to see happen in the game is RNG try and start fighting back for some of this vision control. Obviously with hawk shots, they've spotted out some of these control wards, and no IG have maintained control. So you can see what RNG are doing now, right? Grouping up as a 5-man unit, saying, hey, we are going to get tested on size and try and fight for some of this.
Yeah, I mean, this is soul for IG as well. The Enchanted Crusader connects, this time on the Wink again. They do just try to burn down the Catfish, but he's a tank for a reason. Cease and desist on a backline. Here comes YSKM. That combo you were talking about. YSKM finds LWF, and a big shockwave. Is it going to be the difference maker? It is not. As IG, they fight back tooth and nail, and they beat down RNG.
And it was IG with the combo this time. Tianzhen jumping in with YSKM on ultimate on top of all of it. Now we'll see how much damage they're able to do. They have 30 seconds on the clock.
They are going to look at this tier 2 tower, and it was the combo from hell. This team is actually working in sync with each other now, and it feels like it's a turning of the tide in this game. As the mid inhib goes out, they should be turning back onto this dragon because it'll be a Hex Soul for IG.
Yeah, even gonna use his Hex Gate to beat the hell out of Dodge and be able to guarantee that one. So now it definitely feels like it should be IG's game, right? RNG, they would need to rely on some ridiculous mistakes to come out from IG, I think, to be able to pull this one back. Even a Wit's End now being brought out for YSKM, really putting a lot of emphasis on the damage that Tangyuan, or hell, even the slight damage that Breathe is able to deal when he does go up against them.
Crazy, the fluctuation in gold that we've seen this game. It started off with RNG up 4,000. Now it's IG with a confident lead, about 4,000 of their own. But we did have RNG trying to make a push out toward the Baron pit just to make sure the vision is there for them. But they have to deal with super minions in mid lane now, and that's going to cede a lot of priority that they have.
Could be worse, right? At least mid lane is like kind of the easiest lane to deal with super minions in. If there are some, right, the center point of the map can easily pivot into any objective that comes through. Now they're really going to be hoping to find a pick. We've seen the last 2 times. Okay, Arrow.
Cryin blocks it with the clone. Tianzhen's now looking for backline access. YSKM starting to do some work on Bree. Tianzhen misses the vault breaker as Wei is in the backline now. Tianzhen's getting locked down. He tries to go in. Trisha barrage across, but YSKM has cleared it. It's a 1-for-1. Both junglers down. Bree is finding himself in the midst of everything, and he is still the tank to be feared. Cryin able to use a little bit of damage and the Tango Barb there as the LWX still chunking down Wing pretty heavily here. It's looking like a standoff in mid lane, 1-for-1 for the junglers.
And when both junglers die, I actually feel like it somewhat favors RNG a bit more, right? Because then you're taking out a lot of the hard engage from IG's end, which just allows for the standoff, allows for the poke to come through from the Ezreal. But now we're seeing, right, with how big On is, that sustain is making a difference. The poke isn't really connecting and sticking onto these IG members, and IG can just keep up with those standoffs.
And the fact that YSKM is 8-1-5 on the Jax, it feels like the Jax had fallen out of priority and the Udyr reigns supreme everywhere. But once the game starts ticking, once we hit that 30-minute mark and you got full items almost for the Jax, it is a terrifying sight to behold. And there's just no way to stop it from getting to the back line, I feel like, with this composition. You just have to burn it.
Oh, okay, no arrow connects. Yeah, I think the only real way to prevent it would actually be kind of if you can take Tianzhen out before some of these fights happen, like we just saw, right? Because without his ult, it really isn't safe enough for YSKM to just run in and try and connect onto RNG's backline, unless no one's flagging any potential flanks from coming through.
He's got the Seeker's arm guard now too, so he's going to be getting the Zanyas, as we've seen all good Jaxes go. Provides that extra utility and survivability, and the timing is like perfect to get your Counter-Strike back as well. So RNG sticking with presence around the top side of the map here, Lyric. Yeah,
I love that Breathe really is unperturbed by anything that goes on, though, and is fine just catching this. And it feels like we're just in this stance now, right? We're in RNG are going to constantly probably poke for picks with the Ashe until Elder comes up or until IG pulls them into a Baron.
Or until IG decide to go for a fight. It's one of the above, at least multiple choice answer, as I think it really relies on Ming finding those in cages. We've seen literally it's RNG step forward. If Ming hits the ulti, they go for it. If they don't, they back off for another minute until it comes back up.
The problem is we don't, once again, don't really have great targets for this Ashe ulti. We've seen multiple times.
YSKM.
Right.
YSKM. He had an angle on the back line. He was a little bit unconfident to go for it since Breathe was standing right in his face. IG do have an angle to burst down Breathe here. They're starting to get some of those anti-tank stats, and they also have priority around mid lane, which they already have push in with super minions.
Yeah, now,
Whoa,
RNG, what do you do? How do you get back to base?
I don't know, Tianzhen was playing a little loosey-goosey there, but he does end up surviving. The push is pulled off. The minions actually made it to the Nexus turrets, but this is the dance now that IG can play because they got that strength, is they can go straight to the Baron pit.
And we see, right, them already denying some of RNG's vision. RNG do have the hawk shot, so spot them out. No, nothing's up just yet. So IG, I think, okay, no. I was wondering if they're going to be slow and tempered and pivot back to pushing out more waves. They're just going to commit this and look for the turn.
Again, a game where IG need to win to stay alive last series before Chinese New Year, and it's all on a fight like this where you're flipping as you're trying to go right back. Ming is going to pull the trigger here as Breathe is in some trouble, going to run his way out of there. Ming has to flash away as Tianzhen was going for the engage. Looks like IG have calmed the storm for now.
And the threat from the Vi is just massive.
It's crazy.
Fights. Oh, Tianzhen
does use the vault breaker there. Way's going to go right in as Breathe now locked down there. Should be able to tank that one up decently fine. YSKM looking to get it back because he has TP.
We can see now, especially topside in favor of RNG pushing into IG's space. So being fine with that one, and luckily not giving up any jungle camps, right? All of the standoff has either been in mid or just around river itself. But now we see the pivots down towards bot, trying to get this vision out. We still have ults up for everybody. So there's still a lot of opportunity for a really big combo to come through.
Oh my god. On can tank it though. He can sustain because he is this Senna. They're gonna go in. They caught Breathe. They're gonna be able to do some damage here though. Looking over the wall, YSKM and the pop blossom from Cryin. It separates the entire fight. You gotta pick them apart though. Tianzhen is way overextended, but the rest of IG are following it. Meanwhile, Cryin gets one shot by Tangyuan, but it's IG running down Breathe and running down RNG. They're coming down the mid lane now, but they turn back around to the Elder Dragon.
Yeah, I guess just not wanting to even take the risk with the fact that Breathe is alive, a damage dealer Tangyuan's alive, but it will give them Elder. So RNG won't even be able to, they won't even be able to bluff about wanting to take a fight. Mazel, we'll all know. IG will know. They ain't taking no fights.
Yeah, it feels like IG have just had RNG's number in a lot of these late game fights, and their composition really coming to a T here. As you see the split of this fight, the way that it works out, especially the engage on a Breathe.
Yeah, but still here, YSKM and Cryin, my god, the counter-strike into the flash to find him out. The pop blossom from Cryin. Doesn't matter if you have an arrow there coming out from Ming to stop them, because the damage has already been done. The key damage dealer is taken out from RNG side. And as Tangyuan, right, once your combo's kind of blown, that's another few seconds where you aren't able to put a lot of value in. So IG took advantage of that, and now with Elder, they're going to be very easily able to threaten this Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they started up now. There's really no contest coming out from RNG, who are still trying to lick their wounds and gather up some of their items for a final push. You did get a TP play in the top side of the map, it looks like.
Yeah, we had that from Breathe.
I think he just took a ton of damage from Mr. YSKM. Oh, he got completely collapsed on. So that's why he's in the death realm right now.
Yeah, Breathe. You know, he had to go. He had to go for something. I mean, now at this point in the game, right? RNG, even if they don't see like the numbers, the gold values, this or that, they know they're incredibly far behind. With the enemy having Soul plus Elder, now Baron, Baron on top.
That's a full item YSKM here as well on the Jax. It is a terrifying thought process to try to tackle this one. You still got about a minute on the Elder Dragon buff here as well, and IG pushing up the middle.
Cryin and Wink looking to get their I feel like revenge is the wrong word. Trying to find the win against their old Doric. There we go. As Tangyuan does it the void step now.
Our second game in a row, Elder Dragon has made its appearance in here, and we're getting a little bit of a late game scuffle as the final push in bot side just destroying the turret and the inhib easily. The one little engage from IG away from finishing. Wei just gets that engage delivered hot and fresh to his doorstep. Tangyuan's the first one to bite the dust, and YSKM with a big leap strike, counter strike. and they're just trying to chase down the kills now. LWX will also fall. The Elder Dragon really getting its miles worth out of its wings, and the final Nexus Tower falls. IG have done it. They've tied us up 1-1.
And I'm glad. I'm glad for IG. I'm glad for IG fans. Mazel, I'm happy for you because I know you desperately wanted 3 games.
It's our last series
exactly.
before the Chinese New Year. We need the 3 games. It's the LPL.
And there we go. There we go. IG at least delivering in the first series, bringing us all the way. And again, it's been a scrappy series so far. Both of these teams, neither are afraid to fight.
Yeah, it's actually been so crazy. The early game has been back and forth. RNG had a lead for a lot of it, and IG came back. Now we're going to send it to a little break.